Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in my Line of Gods Daily Diary series. As usual, before I discuss what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Diary video, I want to go ahead and read you a chapter from the Bible. Today I will be continuing with Genesis chapter 26. And there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell of thee. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, She is my sister. For he feared to say, She is my wife, said he, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech king of the Philistines looked out at a window, and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, Behold, of a surety she is thy wife. And how saidst thou, She is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, Because I said, Lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, What is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, He that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great, and went forward, and grew until he had become very great. For he had possession of flocks and possession of herds, and great store of servants, and the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence, and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley, and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they digged another well, and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence, and digged another well. And for that they strove not, and he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, For now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went up from thence to Beersheba. And the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and will multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and Isaac's servants dug a well. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzath one of his friends, and Phicol the chief captain of the army. And Isaac said unto them, Wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, We saw certainly that the Lord was with thee, and we said, Let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and swore one to another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came, and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, We have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. Beersheba. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith the daughter of Bera the Hittite, and Bashemath the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mind unto Isaac and to Rebekah. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I wanna just offer these thoughts. Offer these thoughts. I talk about this all the time, and sometimes just because you don't have something, like for example, I don't have $1 million today. It doesn't change the fact that covetousness of money is wrong. It just means that when I say it, I don't have any a large amount of money to prove that I've somehow like over even if I had something that I still serve God perfectly, etc. I serve God perfectly, which is most important. It's that I don't have any money to then say that relatively that I somehow of course would place God incomparably above everything. It's the idea that I also don't have any numbers at this time. But it doesn't change the fact that the story of the Bible is about serving God first. And everything like numbers or money from there comes because of the grace of God. And let's begin here when we read this chapter here. We get this time, instead of the Egyptians and Abraham, um, where I'm gonna make sure. I'm not sure if it is Abimelech. I thought it was the Egyptians in Genesis. Yes, I don't quite remember the name of the man who. Mm, yeah, but the verses, of course, that where it says, "Thou art but a dead man," right? So that's the idea there. It's Pharaoh. It's literally Pharaoh. Yeah, Pharaoh himself. Yeah, exactly. So it's the Egyptians, and it's literally Pharaoh himself. The verse in Genesis 12:18. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife?" And now here, the verse here, Abimelech saying, in excuse me, here in Genesis 26:9, and Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, of a surety she is thy wife, and how saidst thou she is my sister?" And Isaac said unto him, "Because I said, lest I die for her." So at this point, the Hebrews of this story, the Hebrews on who this story centers around, are outnumbered. They are living in a land that God will promises them He'll give them one day, right? The thing is, they're not like the seemingly the numerous group. Certainly, when you think about Abram and Pharaoh, you get that feeling, and then when you think about Abimelech, Abimelech seems to have men. You know, yeah, it says here, and the men of the place asked him of his wife. So there are more men than just Isaac, or more men than just Abram. And the idea is, so how does it work out for them? Well, it works out because why? God. Think about it. It says, look at what God says here. God tells him, He says, "I sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham thy father." That's why it's working out for them, because God is the one who's delivering it. To God, God is the one who makes it happen, not in this case numbers. And if you actually think about this is a very important point, because two things are true. There's nothing wrong with multiplying. That's what God teaches you to do. It's that He wants you to remember that the victory comes from Him. What's another example of this? An example I talk about all the time in the book of Judges. What are the words that God says to Gideon after the Amalekites and the Midianites pitch camp in the valley of Jezreel, and the Spirit of God comes upon Gideon, and he blows a trumpet, and they rally the men. God says, "You've brought too many men." How does that make sense? Too many men. He says, if I give you the victory by way of the numbers, he says Israel will vaunt themselves against him. They'll puff their chest out and say, "Look how great we are. We have these numbers, we have this manpower, we have this military, we have this technology. Look how great we are," instead of saying, "Look how great Almighty God is." So he says, "I cannot give you the victory with these numbers, lest you vaunt yourselves against me. Send some of the men home, and out of the hands of these 300 men will I deliver you victory." And when you get to these passages that are very painful, you see Abram at the time, Abraham, and you see Isaac having to be concerned about the physical safety of their wives because of the fact that they're outnumbered. It's not easy. The Bible is a story full of struggle and strife and pain. Yet why does it work out for these men who are so heavily outnumbered? Because of God. That's why. And that's the key takeaway to remember, is that God is in control of the story. One need only but serve him perfectly. So that is where I'll go and end the Bible reading there for today and transition over to what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Dive video. Since yesterday's Daily Dive video, I worked at my software engineering job, I worked at my core, and I trained jiu-jitsu. And with no further achievements since yesterday's Daily Dive video, I want to go ahead and say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.